You tell the story.
You tell the whole damn world this is Bear Territory.
There we go. We got that on the first take there for everybody listening. But welcome to another episode of Witty CFB. Your host Rob Sheply here. And on today's episode, we got two great guests on. They came back on in July. We got Cal football legend Ahmad Anderson joining us, as well as Reza. You guys on, and I had so much fun talking to you guys back in July that we had to run this back again. But can you just give everybody just a little bit of insight in terms of the Tell the Whole Damn World podcast and what that's all about, so people can tune in and listen?
Sure. Well, yeah, it builds off of the momentum that was originally started by Ahmad Anderson when he was a player on the Cal team. And 1982, he came up with this chant that you guys just heard. And it's just such a great chant. It's meant to intimidate the competition and let them know if they come to Memorial Stadium, they're in for a real battle. And basically, I just took the phrase, tell the whole damn world, which was a wonderful name to use for a podcast. And the idea behind it is to actually do more than just sports. We definitely cover all the sports here at Cal. That's the basic main thing that we do. But we also shine a light on prominent people in Cal history to highlight a lot of the amazing things they've done in the world, like our Nobel laureates. And it's all really meant to help all of the alumni feel more connected to this wonderful university and to basically just instill a lot of pride in all those Golden Bear fans around the world.
And I'll say that, when we talk about Bear Territory, it was, as Reza mentioned, it was birthed, if you will, in that 82 team, the collaborative team, the friendships that develop, and just that kind of synergy that happens with a team when you are going in the right direction. And that right direction is winning. And yet, when you go deeper to the core, Bear Territory reflects every student that have the energy and the faith to believe that they could actually apply to Cal and get in. It's also about the staff that is there as resources to ensure that they help navigate those students through the process. And then, of course, the incredible Nobel laureate faculty that we have across our campus that prepares us for not only the here and now, but the there and then, and go out and represent the number one public university in our minds, the world. And so when we look at Bear Territory, it incorporates all of that, and it fires us up. It causes us to stand up and to rise up to be a part of that great Golden Bear family.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you guys sharing that. And that's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about listening to you guys is you guys are full enthusiasm, full energy, and most importantly, just being optimistic too, which, leads us to our conversation about the football program. Because I remember us talking back in July, and I remember thinking to myself, if JKS can put it together and a couple of different players step up, there's a lot more talent on this team than a lot of people thought. But, now we're looking at Cal. They're 6-4. They're facing Stanford this week. They're rolling. They beat ranked Louisville a couple weeks ago. So with that said, there's so many exciting things going on this year. So what have been some of the highs and some of the positives that you're able to take away from this Cal team right now? Because I got to say it, this is because of you guys. This is some of the most Cal football that I've watched all year, between the Virginia Tech game, the North Carolina game, than most of the Louisville game too.
Well, it's certainly been an exciting season for sure. We got out of the gates, we went 3-0 and had that big win over Minnesota and PJ Fleck at home, which was awesome to see because, Minnesota is a good Big Ten team and we were able to beat them. And a lot of, expectations kind of started to go through the roof, right, because we were 3-0 at that point. But then San Diego State happened, and somehow lost that game, humiliating loss, didn't score a single point. And all of a sudden it was like, oh no, what in the heck just happened? But then, righted the ship, had that huge win against Boston College with a last-second interception to prevent losing that game. And then the North Carolina game, which was super exciting too, where the Paco punch, thanks to Paco Austin for punching the ball out just before receiver went across the goal line to preserve our victory against North Carolina and Bill Belichick. So it's been an interesting season. Oh, and then Virginia Tech happened, and we were hopeful that we would beat Virginia Tech, and it looked good at halftime. But boy, we could not stop the run against them. So all of a sudden, so it was like a roller coaster ride where everyone's all excited, and everyone went down, and everyone got excited again, and then everyone went down, and quite honestly, a lot of the fan base had kind of given up when Virginia came into town, and all the Cal fans were clamoring for a day game because we've been, just basically having to deal with night games for every home game this season before Virginia came to town. Now, Virginia's top 15 team, right? They were rolling right along. We get a 12:30 start or 1 o'clock start, I guess. I mean, there were lots of reasons to be excited and for the fans to show up for that game. But because we'd lost to Virginia Tech, all the fans just kind of decided, okay, well, got better things to do. And the attendance was deplorable. I called out a lot of Cal fans for that because we still had a lot to play for. But again, it just kind of shows how a lot of, fair weather fans either are on board or they just jump right back off. And then we go out and beat Louisville. And in a game where we were underdogs by 18.5 points. And that was a thrilling contest, right? We end up winning the game in overtime, going for it on 4th and 3 at the end of overtime to pull out the win, walk-off win. And that was just so thrilling and exciting. And that's a game where everyone was reminded of just how good Jaron Kiave Sagapolutele is, right? And we had Jacob DeJesus, who really stepped up in a huge way, tying the Cal record for most receptions in a game with 16. And so now everybody's up again, and you got big game, and it's like, well, yeah, why can't we beat Stanford? And then, we're all focused just on Stanford, so I'm just going to stop there. But our last game of the season during the regular season is against SMU. And so I'm not going to go that far, but who knows? Let's beat Stanford first. We'll be 7-4. And then we'll see what happens with that last game of the season. So that's I'm excited. I think at the beginning of the season, I think any Cal fan in their right minds would have been thrilled with an 8-win season. And we're not there yet, but that's a real strong possibility if we are able to continue to play and build off of the momentum that we had against Louisville.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes on for a team, as and as the guy who played. At this time in the season, there are so many competing interests from, did I make the right decision if I came from another school? Watching on the side or getting feedback from players that you played with at that other school. Facing your trials and tribulations in the moment, in your role, in your position. Am I getting as much time as I want? Am I performing to the level that I'm not in jeopardy of, somebody else coming in from another school on the wings of an NIL? And am I really sitting here, sort of in a waiting stage to see where maybe I can go? And that's a real dangerous place to be, all three of those categories, because now's the time where teams need to really be locked in if you are, 1-7, locked in if you are 7-1, because how you end up hopefully puts you in the right space to how you begin the rest of the season. And the rest of the season has already started now from a recruiting standpoint. People eyeing the NIL. And if you're not winning, there's a great opportunity for somebody. If you are winning, this is a great opportunity that if you don't have the relationship with your players, if you haven't been able to show them and demonstrate the touch, the trust and collegiality as a coach and fellow teammates, then many folks are going to leave, no matter how well you do. So a lot is at play right now to not look towards the end of the season, but look right in front of your face and get ready for the Stanford game in Cal from our perspective. And the Cal game, the big game, the Stanford play, that can. I was on a 3-8 team, a 2-9 team, and we beat them when we were 2-9, and we wanted to go 2-9, but we beat them, and they were going to the Peach Bowl, but we won, and they didn't go to the Peach Bowl. I have played in numerous big games where it just went down to the wire. There was no beat down of either team. It was the last person having the ball or the last person being able to defend the ball is going to be the person that wins. I feel like that now, but I also said recently that we have two coaches, one who was an interim coach, and that's where that person was, and is going to be. There's no cat out the bag. No tree out the bag, no cardinal out the bag, whatever they are out the bag, to tell us what they're going to do. They've got a great GM with someone who's played the game and understands that, but they can't rely on him going out and just finding the next eeny, meeny, miny, mo guy next to him. He's got to go out and get a coach if he wants to show his ability to really be strategic and a partner building with a coach that can lead Stanford to a great next season or a better season. We, on the other hand, we have a guy who I love and adore and has been a great friend to me and a great friend of the program who's been with us a while. And it has been that, just like a boogaloo, it's just back and forth. And that's tough because again, you start thinking about yourself. Have I done what I'm supposed to do? Have I worn out my welcome here? Am I delivering on the promise that I sat in people's homes with their sons and mothers and fathers and said, come to Cal. Here's the reason why you come. We're going to have a good team. And I say to you that there are people that are asking that Wilcox step down, that we move on. So a lot is on the table. But I don't believe it's going to be the Bears on the table this weekend. I'm looking for a win. And, the bear never quits, the bear never dies. And, baby, this is Bear territory.
Yeah, because you guys both brought up great points, too, not only in terms of the program itself, but also holistically in terms of the ins and outs and kind of the behind-the-scenes things just about the football program in general, too. And I was thinking about this, preparing for this take, was just how much of an underrated rivalry Cal and Stanford even is to begin with, because Stanford they've had some losing seasons, and I think just like Cal this year, the one thing that I would describe Cal football with, if I could describe it in one word, is being resilient, in the sense that a lot of people wrote them off, especially when Jay Knott went to Oklahoma and a bunch of other transfers. So for all these younger players that really had no continuity at the beginning of the season, for them to kind of all come together, and for Justin Wilcox to assemble a really solid offensive staff and be able to put together the results that they've had, because you can even say that Virginia Tech game, Virginia, those are two games that they certainly could have won as well. So that 6-4 record, I would argue, is even a little deceiving in that way, that I think they've probably even played better than 6 wins this year.
I think it's a valid point. I mean, we've certainly had our opportunities, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said resilient, and that's what we've seen out of this team. Nobody really gave us much of a chance against Louisville, and to come out with that win has turned it all around, heading into big games. So, yeah, I think it's all ahead of us, and like Ahmad said, just have to lock in and make sure you stay focused at this point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about what we thought would happen from a defensive perspective, that they would have to put pressure on the ball. But, we've had some great DBs, but we've caught ourselves looking into the backfield. We've had some deep plays put on. We've missed some tackles. Getting back to fundamentals is not as easy when you have people who are injured, or when, you're juggling, just being tired from going from coast to coast and trying to keep it all together. And you can, there's no switch that you can turn on in the room, click, and the light goes on and boom, it happens. It's really digging deep. And to lose games the way we've lost them, either by a little or by a lot, that's the kind of stuff that gives you heartburn as a coach and as a player. What could I have done differently? And this, like all rivalries, becomes the essence of your existence. Why did I come here? Well, I came here because they said we're going to win. But a rivalry, everything gets thrown out the window, baby. The kitchen, the kids, the food, the wedding rings, the hats, the keys are on the table. I'm going to the game. I want to be there. I don't care if I have to sleep all night on the grass, if I have to get up early in the morning and walk. People are coming to this game. This is what makes the Bay one of the greatest places ever. It's not only, the professional teams, but this game right here, folks who never go to any college games whatsoever are looking to their friends who either went to Cal, go to Cal, went to Stanford, go to Stanford, and say, can I go with you? This is what it is. And we have a defense that is revved up, ready to go, putting pressure on players. They have an offense that has been sort of back and forth, but making the big play is what the play is all about in the big game.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it just seems like Cal, throughout the season has been able to have the highs and lows, just like you talked about too. And I remember just watching even just JKS in particular, his progression kind of from the beginning of the season, starting off against at Texas Southern, that Minnesota game, to see him really kind of put it together versus North Carolina and that Louisville game, especially. Because is he super raw? Absolutely. But there's just so many things that you necessarily can't teach about him, where you just say to yourself, like, hey, if you give that guy another season or two, he could be someone who's really special, and most importantly, someone who can be a 4-year starter too. Because even Jacob DeJesus too, and Grizzle, both those guys have been phenomenal targets for him. And I got to say, Cal football has been really fun to watch this year too.
Oh, we want to put on a show. Glad you've been enjoying it.
Yeah, man, and we really appreciate you, Rob, and what you're doing here, what you've been doing, and inviting us to be a part of this, network, inviting us to come back. Those are few and far between for some folks, but we think that we're putting in the energy and the spirit of what it means around college football, and it's hit our campus in such a way that folks are extremely excited. We're evolving into basketball, and I'm sure if there was a yo-yo team, we'd be sitting right there talking about the spin and walking the dog and rocking the cradle too, and who the best people to do that. We love Cal, and unequivocally to us, it is the best place in the world. We've had lived experiences at separate times, but we come to the middle of the excitement of college game, college football, and what that does on any given Saturday for teams across the country. And being able to connect with you on the other side of the world talks about what I feel in this time in this country. It's all about sitting down in our spaces and in our places and breaking bread over football, if you will. And we take our hat off to you, brother, and hope to continue working with you through the bowl season as well. And then maybe at the end, just sort of wrap it up. But we're here for you, brother. And I'm sending you a big bear hug from California.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, I always feel the love and feel the optimism and feel the enthusiasm, most importantly, too. Because like I said, I remember finding you guys back in late June, early July, and I just listened to you guys for probably 3 minutes or less. And I just immediately knew that you guys would be awesome to talk to. And, I feel like I always learn something from you guys. And most importantly, we're all just having a good time. That's really what it should all be about. So with that said, do you have any final words in terms of the Stanford game or just in terms of this conversation?
Well, I mean, yes, Stanford, I mean, it's hard to figure them out because they, have not had a good season, but they stepped up and they certainly beat Florida State in Palo Alto. And I mean, wow, right? That was pretty exciting and it was surprising for sure to see and exciting as well. So they're dangerous. I mean, and that's just it. I think that's the point that Ahmad was trying to make. I mean, he would know better than most, having played in the big game, how anything can happen. You don't know. And I heard somebody, an analyst, say earlier today, in fact, that he feels like Cal matches up pretty well against Stanford, and that's great. I'm encouraged to hear that. But again, you don't know. They've lost to us 4 times in a row. Do they want to lose 5 times in a row? I mean, they may give that extra burst. It will make their season if they beat us. And so we can't take anything for granted. I think that might have been part of it, at least. I can't speak for the players, but I know at least for the fan base, the fans assumed we were going to beat San Diego State earlier this year. We were 14-point favorites. So, yeah, we're going to win that game, be 4-0. That didn't happen. So we got to come with it. We got to stay locked in. And I think if we play like we're capable of playing, and I also want to make a point of Jaron Chiave Sagapolutele, because I think you mentioned it, that, give him another year or so, he's going to really be this incredible player. I mean, I think he is already there. I mean, he is, and it's a lot of hyperbole maybe, but you just don't understand. Like, we have seen throws that this kid has made that are just, they're not supposed to be possible for a true freshman to be able to make the throws that he's capable of making. And I mean, we all love him here at Cal. We're very excited that, he plans to stay, and we're going to do everything we can to build a team around him heading into the next season. But that's getting a little ahead of us. We're talking about Stanford, and I think we are. That's our primary focus. That's what it all has to be about. And it would be really, really nice to be able to say that we've beaten Stanford 5 years in a row.
And I'd say that there's, don't go, Cal, better not walk into that stadium down the farm sleepwalking, because they might receive a rude awakening by Stanford. But if I know my Bears, they're going to come out the cave like they've been hibernating all year, and they're hungry.